So this video's focus will be more of a physical comparison between Apple's AirPods Pro first generation and the newer AirPods Pro third generation. Now, I bought the first generation clear back in the year 2020. I've used them a ton and they've been great, but now the battery on the case is failing, so I've had to upgrade. And I was looking forward to all the changes, except for one thing, the size. I just remember when the third generation came out and I first saw them in person, they just looked bulky to me. I carry my AirPods with me around where I go in my pockets a lot, so I wasn't looking forward to the newer ones being bigger and bulkier and taking up more space in my pockets. So here they are, the first gen and the third gen. Also, the second gen are physically the same size as the first gen, so if you want to compare the twos and the threes, just imagine that these are the twos, but just keep in mind that the twos do have speaker holes at the bottom like this and also a lanyard loop. But other than that, they're very similar physically. Also, another thing, these ones, I have a foam tip. They don't originally come with that, but I put them on. But it'd also be kind of useful for you guys, just so you can tell them apart better. So here I have the physical dimensions written out, and you can pause the video if you'd like. But to summarize, compared to the first generation, the third generation are about 4.5% taller, about 2.5% wider, and about 0.5% deeper. The first gen feel a bit more dense or solid. And that's because even though the threes are like bigger and they take up more volume, they're actually slightly lighter. Quickly comparing the weight of each individual earbud, the threes are slightly heavier, a 2.8% difference. And then comparing the weight of the empty cases, the threes are slightly lighter, a 3.5% difference. And then the grand total with the AirPods and their cases and everything, the threes are slightly lighter with a 2.3% difference. Also, something I've noticed with these new ones, if I shake them, they actually do rattle a little bit inside of their case. It's probably because they have the smaller tips on, but there's just generally more space around in the case for them. And here's just a more side-by-side comparison of the cases and their sizes. So the design changed and they are shaped a bit differently. The threes also give you the option to use little swiping gestures here on the stem to adjust the volume, and the ones don't have that. The threes also have a built-in heart rate sensor and the ones do not. The stem on the threes is a bit thicker and they do not fit into each other's cases. Like if I try to put this in here, it won't. And if I try to put the ones in the threes case, it still doesn't quite fit. So the ones charge with a lightning cable and the threes charge with a USB Type-C. With the ones, you can charge them by plugging them in here or putting them on a wireless charger. With the threes, you can charge them in 4 different ways. So by plugging them in, by placing them on a wireless charger, by using an Apple Watch charger, or by using Apple's MagSafe charger, which is pretty much just a wireless charger with magnets that snap things in place. They kind of look like this. Apple claims that with the cases and everything, they're actually both going to give you like 24 hours of listening time total. But the big difference is the AirPods on their own, the ones will give you 4.5 hours of listening time on a full charge, they say, and the threes will give you 8 hours. The threes have these little speakers on the case, which make it really helpful to find them when they're lost, and a lanyard loop, and the ones do not. On the ones, the little light looks like this, and then you light it up, but on the threes, it's more hidden until you open them up. Also on the ones, they have a physical button on the back to put it into pairing mode. On the threes, there's no physical button, but you can still put it into pairing mode by doing a double tap right here, and then there you go. I've also noticed that in comparison to the ones, the threes sit higher. This is more of a shallow space right here compared to this, which is deep. Now when you get the threes brand new and you unbox them, you'll notice that including the tips that are on them currently, they do come with a grand total of 5 different sizes of tips, but they do not come with any charging cables. Also, the white tips that originally come with the ones are made of all silicone, whereas with the threes, they have both silicone and a bit of foam in there. Also, they changed the way that the tips clip in. So if you have tips that are meant for the threes and you try to put them on the ones, they're not compatible, they won't work. So my overall thoughts after having the Pro 3s for a few weeks, it is a bit unfortunate that they're less compact than these older AirPod Pros, but it's not the end of the world. It's not a massive difference, and I find that it doesn't really bother me, and I do like these new ones. Now there's lots of other things to talk about, but this video mostly focused on the physical comparison, so you can learn about things like sound quality, processing chips, Bluetooth version, waterproof ratings, and other modes and features somewhere else. But I do want to say that I am impressed and happy with the noise cancellation on these threes. Now I didn't use the noise cancellation mode that much on the ones because I didn't cancel a ton of sound, but I would also feel a weird sucking or pressure feeling that was slightly uncomfortable. And I was worried that this feeling would be 4 times as stronger on the threes, but I am relieved to say that I don't notice any worse of a pressurized feeling. I mostly just notice the strange absence of sound. And that's all. Feel free to comment your thoughts, and if you'd like to support the channel, there's a link in the description.